Welcome to the PartsWatch invoicing tutorial. This is the third of a multi-part series designed to familiarize you with the point-of-sale experience. In the previous sessions, we covered the upper section of the invoice screen, which deals primarily with customers. And in this lesson, we'll cover the middle section of the screen, where you'll learn how to sell and return products to these customers. Okay, when we left off in the last video, we had found a customer and entered our POS ID, and the cursor moved to the sell line, ready to enter the first part. But before we actually enter a part, and just so you know, the row where you enter the parts is referred to as the sell line. And once sold, the parts move into the middle grid. And generally, the brown oval buttons on the sell line open browser windows to search for data. So clicking a button here will help find a line or a part. And if you need to find a part by description, click the part number button if you've already entered a line code and check description, or click the description button. By default, the cursor is positioned in the line field, but a setting in the employee setup screen will position the cursor in either the modifier field or the part number field, whichever you'd rather start with. The modifier field defaults to sell a part, but can be changed to return a part or a core. Let's open F1 Help and take a quick look at what a few of the modifiers are used for. Whereas parts sold with the sell modifier reduce stock and are tracked to part sales histories, buyout and dropships are used for parts that have to be sourced outside the store and determine whether or not to affect stock and part histories with the sales and returns. Core returns are used to issue core credits, and a core exchange sells the part and returns the core in the same transaction. So check out this chart to help understand all of the modifiers. Okay, let's leave the modifier on sell. But before we enter a part number and hit the enter key, notice the scan field. This is where the quantity sold will display if scanning is enabled and an item is scanned. But if we enter a part number instead of scanning it, the field changes to sell. So let's go ahead and enter a part and hit the enter key. If a part is entered without a line code and the part exists under multiple line codes, the system will allow selection of the correct one. If alternate parts are set up for the entered part, the alternates will display, and one can be selected by double-clicking it. If a part is superseded, the replacement part will display for selection. Barcode UPCs, SKUs, aliases, and OEM numbers such as GM and Motorcraft long numbers can be set up on the part UPC entry screen and scanned or entered at point of sale. PartsWatch will find and display the part number. If the print on invoice flag is checked in setup, the UPC will print instead of the part number. Okay, I'm going to enter a part to show a few features. First, the system does special character stripping, so even though I entered part number 101236 without the dash, it found it as 10-1236 with the dash. So special characters don't have to be entered. The quantity reserved on other tickets lets you see who a part is reserved for. You may want to sell a reserved part to a customer standing before you, and when the shipment arrives, reallocate the part on the ticket. And the quantity on order Inbound is from a purchase order, so you know when stock is expected. Now, if a part is on the sell line, the Part Detail button opens a pop-up with some part information, or the Part Detail pop-up will automatically open by checking the Part Detail pop-up on the invoice options screen. Hit Enter or click Close to close the pop-up. And Last Sold pop-up lets you know the last time the part was sold within a preset number of days. It's for information only and will automatically close when you sell the part. It can be turned off or enabled by entering a number of days value in the Display Last Sale Within X Days setup on the Control Invoice Options screen. And if the Show DC QOH at POS field on the Invoice Options screen is set to Always, the preferred hub or sister store number and its quantity on hand shows below the Sell QOH field when the sell amount is greater than the quantity on hand. Or if the setup is set to Conditional, a QOH button displays when the sell amount is greater than the quantity on hand, and you can click it to display the store number and quantities available. The default sell quantity setup on the Invoice Options screen defaults the sell quantity to either 0 or 1, or the per car quantity. The per car quantity is set up on the main part entry screen and designates the multiple quantities that the part is sold in. And when we hit Enter from the Part field, the cursor moves to the Sell field. Tab from the Sell field goes to the Description field to enter or edit a description for the part, and Tab or Enter moves back to the Sell field. And Shift-Tab from the Sell field moves the cursor back to the Lost field to enter a lost sale, or the backorder, the BKO field, to enter a customer backorder. Entering an L for lost sale or B for backorder in the Sell field does the same thing. Okay, because there's so much functionality, we're going to stop here and pick back up on selling parts at point of sale in Part 3B. So be sure to watch that lesson also. And now, if you have any questions and don't find the answers in the F1 help file, please contact your support representative. And thanks for joining us.